Why do you say BJP will not come into power? Displace these two parties altogether from the scene and bring BJP into power. BJP government definitely would have, at least they would have immediately gone back to Supreme Court and stopped that judgment.
This is the first time he's contesting elections. In fact, he surprised a lot of people when he announced that he would be joining politics. So what made India's metro man E. Sridharan join politics and contest for the BJP from Palakkad? We are here in Palakkad in conversation with E. Sridharan. You have explained this many times, I know, but I want to ask you again, at your age, why did you decide to join politics?
Basically for two reasons. One is, I have been in the government for the last 67 years. During that time, I had ample opportunities to take up very many, very prestigious infrastructure projects like Konkan Railway, Delhi Metro, like that, and complete it well in time. Now I have resigned from government service actually. I thought my accumulated knowledge, experience, that should be available to my own native state, Kerala, hereafter also. That is one reason. The other reason, I have been living in Kerala for the last 10 years. I have seen the UDF government functioning. I have seen the LDF government functioning. Both these governments are only competing with each other to only work for their own parties. The state does not seem to get really any improvement, particularly in major areas like development and industries, particularly industries. It's not coming. I thought I should be able to contribute to the state by joining BJP, displace these two parties altogether from the scene and bring BJP into power so that the people will have a much better, very transparent sort of a role without any scandals, without any corruption. This is what my idea was.
So you've never had any plans of joining the other parties? It was always the BJP for you?
Yes, always the BJP, right from the start. Because I'm a BJP sympathizer. And more so after Modi, Narendra Modi came into power in 2014, seeing the way he is functioning, seeing the way the country is progressing, very many fronts, the way he is securing the security of the country, particularly keeping J&K with the government, with this thing, and the border that he is safeguarding, seeing the way and his devotion and passion to work for the country, that has really energized me.
So you said there are two main reasons why you came to politics, and the first reason you said is that you want to usher in development. Now, if that is your real reason, why would you go with the BJP in Kerala? Because there is no way that the BJP is coming to power this time. Maybe it's in the long run, it may be possible, but as of now, we are still talking about BJP winning 5 or less than 5 seats. So why then the BJP?
Why do you say BJP will not come into power? My main idea was, by my joining the BJP, BJP will have an entirely different face, an image. And very many people will be having high expectations from BJP. That was the main thing. Give that boost to the image of BJP. That was my main intention.
That you may have been successful in doing. But sir, is it okay to use the term loosely that there has been no development in Kerala? For example, the last government has got a lot of goodwill for transforming schools, health sector, even when it comes to welfare measures after the floods, during COVID pandemic. There has been much appreciation for this government, and previous governments too have done things to many sectors. So is it okay to use that term loosely?
Development is something else. And social benefits being doled out by the government is entirely different.
No, I'm talking about development also, like in the education sector, in the health sector. For example, PHCs are now family health centers. Many schools have been developed.
No, I'm just coming from the Morning Girls High School. Anybody seeing that school today position, can you say the schools have been developed? Digitalization program of the school is going on for the last 8 years. See how the students are sitting. They say, what is the development? They pick up some schools, and that development is made by some. There is some other pattern for the development. Government is not doing much about it. Only because of the COVID, some online classes have been started. That's the only development they have done. And what about, you are talking about floods. This is the greatest disgrace this government has brought to the state. We had repeatedly 2018 floods, then we had 2019 floods. And everybody knows, a technical man like me, we know that it is a man-made disaster. What has the government done to find out the reason for the man-made disaster so that doesn't get again repeated? Even suppose they have not done it, have they rehabilitated all the people involved in that? Not at all. There are so many people still without houses, without living. How can they take credit for it? Credit has come, but so many other people, voluntary organizations worked for, and government did not. Government's contribution has been very little, floods, according to me. But the biggest blunder they have done is not finding out the reason why the floods occurred. Any sensible government will do that first, which they have not done.
You also spoke about your admiration for Narendra Modi, and in that you said like how he kept Jammu and Kashmir within the country. But people living in Jammu and Kashmir have had to pay a price. For example, they have not had internet, their freedom of movement is curtailed, democratic leaders have been put in house arrest.
That was necessary to control the situation.
So you don't think that's undemocratic?
No, it's not undemocratic. That is a justified measure the government has taken to control the situation today. A few people are creating problem, and that should not be allowed. And there are other people who are simply suffering because of that. Suppose the government had not taken this measure, you know how many people more would have died in J&K? Now the J&K was going towards a situation where the people will be without food. Now that is not the situation. You go to, I've been working in J&K. Do you know that? In J&K, I have been working on two important projects so far. One is rejuvenation of the Dal Lake. For the last 2 years, I've been working on that. Then light metro projects for Jammu and Srinagar. I know what is happening there. If you see the present government there, what all progressive measures they have taken. Which government will take the initiative to rejuvenate Dal Lake? All the previous governments have spoiled the Dal Lake like anything, which was the pride of Kashmir, Srinagar. What is its present condition? This government only has started rejuvenating it. Then light metro projects, nobody has thought of it so far. What all?
But sir, is development the only yardstick? I mean, there's something about freedom of people, about their freedom of speech, about their right to life.
That is already there, isn't it? But mischievous elements should not be allowed to have their own play. That is what the government has done.
Oh. Sir, in Kerala, I have been listening to a lot of campaign speeches. You, of course, are visiting many places in Palakkad. Your speech is mainly about development and what can be brought into Kerala. But if I look at the speeches of other BJP leaders, their main concentration is on Sabarimala, on issues like love jihad, and the othering of people who do not come under a Hindutva umbrella. How do you look at that sort of campaign?
See, I do not like to comment on what others are doing. As far as I am concerned, I want to have strictly adhere to the noble traditions of our country, Sanatana Dharma. Freedom for everyone, fairness for everyone, that sort of thing, what I want to. Yes, Sabarimala issue. Yes, it is really, which has wounded the sentiments and feelings of such a large majority of Sabarimala pilgrims. How can you simply ignore it? And particularly when a government has taken so many measures to injure the sentiments. They have taken deliberate measures using the police, because the Chief Minister had the police control. What all they have done, how many pilgrims have been charged, how many pilgrims have been cases have been filed against them? Will any sensible government do it who have got concern for the people of this country?
Let's imagine BJP was in power at the time when the Supreme Court's judgment came in Kerala. Constitutionally, that government also would be bound to follow the Supreme Court's judgment if a woman wanted to go to Sabarimala. Would the BJP government have acted any different then?
BJP government definitely would have, at least they would have immediately gone back to Supreme Court and stopped that judgment. Whereas this state government simply kept mum. BJP government would have taken the measures immediately to at least get a stay of the order of the Supreme Court.
The Congress is also now speaking mainly about Shabarimala. How do you view this?
Congress is talking about Shabarimala only when the elections have come. What have they done during those period when so many pilgrims are suffering, when the sentiments and traditions of the Hindus were being trampled? What was the Congress doing at that time? Now only they are talking about these things. Not at that time. Have they shown any sympathy for that? Have they condemned the action of the LDF government at that time? Just for vote's sake, they are now talking about Shabarimala.
But sir, isn't this the BJP's playbook in every state? That they basically say Hindus are under threat and then sort of try to bring all Hindus under one umbrella. Do you think that it's not the same playbook here also?
You are wrong. BJP's idea is not to bring all Hindus under umbrella. BJP's idea is, this is our motherland. Everybody should be loyal to motherland. Everybody should love their motherland. This is what BJP wants to bring, irrespective of the religion, irrespective of their caste.
But the BJP also has a tendency to brand people anti-national if they do not agree with the BJP's point of view.
No, not at all. They brand anti-national when they work against the nation. Those people, they will definitely brand anti-national.
Yesterday we were interviewing Shafi Parambil, who is your opponent from the Congress here. He said a vote for the BJP is a wasted vote in Kerala.
That is his way of fooling people. How do you say it will be a wasted vote?
Because there is no way BJP candidates are going to win in most constituencies, therefore your vote gets wasted.
No, it will be shown now by May 2nd, it will be shown that the vote gone to BJP has brought me into power, made me to succeed. He'll be proved totally wrong on 2nd May.
We were also interviewing Shailaja teacher, who's told us that the LDF government here, for example, has ensured that people have the right to eat what they want. Like for example, I come from Karnataka, where now beef is banned. It's not the same in Kerala, right? People have the right to eat what they want. She's saying it's the government which has given that freedom to people.
You see, as far as I'm concerned, there are certain things which are fundamental right of a person. What you want to eat, when you want to go to sleep, when you want to have your bath. These are all fundamental right of a person. We don't stand against that. But when doing so, you are deliberately bruising or hurting the sentiments of the people. That is wrong.
But so how does one person eating a food deliberately bruise the sentiment of another person?
There are so many people eating beef Kerala. There was no trouble all along. But when you take a live cow, take it to the center of the road, cut it in the presence of so many people, then convert it into meat and conduct a meat festival, do you think it is correct? This is what we are objecting.
So you are saying you're only objecting that?
Yes. That deliberately wounding the sentiments and traditions of a community. Whether it is Hindu, Muslim, Christian, that is totally wrong. I am only saying that.
So my final question to you, you have been speaking about development. If to the people of Kerala you want to say 3 or 4 things, like specific changes that you want to bring in, what would they be?
First of all, the basic developments required for the state. There are so many developments necessary, particularly in transportation and housing for the people, then agriculture. There are so many developments required. That is one thing. I am only briefly touching. The second is industry. Not even one single industry has come to the state during the last 20 years. And the result, you know that industry only creates wealth. It brings cash. Cash not only for the people, cash for the government also as well. It generates ancillary industries. It is something like that. Not even one industry has come. On the other hand, industry started in the state, like Kochavassap Chittalapalli. He started an excellent industry in the state. He was made to run out of it. Now 80% of his operations are outside the state. There are so many Keralites, rich enough, who can afford to set up industries. Why are they not doing it? I want to change that atmosphere, that industry should come. Unless industries come, our young people will not find jobs. Jobs have to be created here.
But there are two counter questions I can ask you quickly. Bringing industries without objectivity, because a lot of communities are now also opposing industries, and Kerala is a small state. There is too much density of population. If you bring an industry in a place, there are people in the community who will say that we cannot have that industry here because it pollutes our water, our air, etc.
Industry means you should bring an industry which is environmentally friendly to the state. That is even development. It has to be environmentally friendly. You can't bring any development that you want. But if you are bringing such a development, immediately the alternative measures will be taken, like what I was doing. I cut a tree, but immediately I plant 10 trees as afforestation. That sort of steps have to be taken.
And sir, Kerala could also be defined as a state where people are more aware of their rights as a labourer, right? Which is the trade union movement here has seen to that.
I feel people are aware of the negative freedom that they want. If people are really aware of the problems here, why can't the people change the government? Earlier they should have changed the governments. What is happening today? If you see the atrocities that is taking place, the type of corruption that is taking place, the type of scandals, any sensible Keralite should have changed this government long back. And that is what we are trying to do now.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. So you are against a young candidate. We keep speaking about bringing young faces. So what would you like to tell the people of Palakkad?
I only want to tell the people, young or old makes no difference. What is more important is experience, knowledge, and a passion to serve the people. That is what is required.
Thank you very much. Young or old doesn't matter. What matters is experience and the will to serve people, says E. Sridharan. This is Dhanya with Jasim in Palakkad for the News Minute.